Salut tovarищи! It's your friend Horatiu Zglimbea, aka the Baby Communist. I'm here on the set of The Quick Take, and joining us for the third time, Noah Thulin, also known as Of Drinking Age Keanu. He just celebrated his 21st birthday recently.
Don't tell them that. They don't need to know any more about me than they already know, which is my name.
Right, and his phone number is 248-370. We just got back from seeing Roman J. Israel Esquire, the new Denzel Washington movie, and I guess now we're going to talk about it, right? I mean,
you guess? How many of these have you done before, and you're just now kind of picking up on what the general structure of it is?
5. It's hard, man.
Hosting?
Absolutely. Talking about movies, it's tough. Like, doctors got nothing on us.
They go to, like, what, school for how many years?
I went to school for 4 years.
And look at you now.
Well, I think it's time. Musica tematica! Welcome back to The Quick Take. Before we begin, I'm going to tell you the plot synopsis from IMDb of the film is as such. Denzel Washington stars as Roman Israel, a driven, idealistic defense attorney who, through a tumultuous series of events, finds himself in a crisis that leads to extreme action. That's how you do it, Noah. That's how you read a plot synopsis.
Thank you for showing me.
Anytime. I love teaching. So Noah, first impressions on the movie. What did you think?
It's a movie that doesn't really provoke a strong reaction.
Sure.
It's not bad. I think it's a well-made film. It's well acted. It's well shot, for the most part. And this thing, it passes all those, but there's just something missing about the movie.
The takeaway that I got from it, and I think what they meant for the takeaway to be was simply
the take.
The take away from this movie was that, you know, stick to your ideals, always go with your heart, be moral, and, you know, take the high ground, and you'll feel good about yourself no matter where life leads you. That being said, I think the takeaway that I got from the movie myself was that nice guys finish last. I mean, spoilers from here on out. Roman J. Israel, he's a civil activist, you know, from the civil rights movement. An attorney, puts his life on hold, doesn't have a family, and doesn't get riches, and he serves underrepresented minority groups. He realizes things are going bad for him. His law firm is going under because the main lawyer dies. He doesn't have any money, and he doesn't know what to do in life. He doesn't know. He's a man out of time. So in the end, he turns in that criminal, gets the money, tries to live a lavish life, goes against his moral code, and then things go bad for him. The criminal finds out, sends a hitman after him, and eventually he does get killed at the end of the movie. To me, the only takeaway I got from that was that nice guys finish last. That's what I got.
In terms of filmmaking and structure and stuff like that, this movie was 2 hours?
2 hours and 9 minutes.
2 hours and 9 minutes. What you just described is a great pitch for the movie. I mean, it sounds like a Coen Brothers thing. Fargo is basically, in a sense, that does it so much better and so much more concisely. Like when you say, like, turns to a life of crime, he calls someone and turns someone in. It's like one scene and he gets a bunch of money for it, and that's it. That's the bad thing he does. And he doesn't actually, like, come back to face that whole dilemma until, like,
45 to an hour later.
It felt like a whole nother act of him just sort of reaping the benefits. Buys some nice clothes, he kind of just takes a bit of a trip, he gets a better apartment, and stuff like that's good to show that. But that's a montage that would take at most like 3 minutes, and there's nothing else besides what you described. There is nothing else that goes on in this movie.
Nothing.
Literally following him around point by point at just his kind of daily life and stuff like that. There's a way to make that interesting. There's a way to make that a dynamic and like kind of an amorphous sort of movie that just kind of flows along with this character, but it takes way too long to get a good sense of who he is as a character.
Right.
And to figure out what his even motivations are.
You know the story, they hand feed it to you. He worked hard in the civil rights movement. He goes to a meeting with an activist group and tries to impart some wisdom, and they just laugh him out. And he thinks he's doing something good, he's getting back to his roots, and we wish that we could see him in his element. Through flashbacks, or like a scene at the beginning showing him as a lawyer in his younger days, you know, representing these underrepresented groups.
Right. This is all his backstory and stuff that's alluded to, but you never see it. They they really harp on the fact that he's great in the courtroom. He understands these people. He's really nice and upfront with people. Anytime someone calls him, he's like, "Of course I remember you. I gave you my card." And
Right.
it's supposed to show him as this guy who's really like good with people, and you see like none of that. It doesn't show that he's like a strong supporter of other people. It's just they tell you that. When you think about this, it's like a movie biopic sort of thing about like a lawyer, civil rights activist.
It's biopic.
Yeah, there's so little like that actually is in a courtroom or has any sort of that rigmarole of, you know, trying to fight for people's rights and stuff like that. Yeah, and it just feels like it's just so many decisions. Just why? Like,
it kind of felt like we're showcasing Denzel Washington and his acting abilities, because the character that he played, they said things like he was savant, and the way he acted was made you think of someone on the spectrum of autism or, you know, high functioning of that. They never actually say it, so we never know.
Which is good. I think that's a great way to use an element like that on a character.
Absolutely, and I think to me, it felt like this is Denzel Washington. Look at him act this way, look at him showcasing his acting abilities, and let him tell this story of Roman J. Israel Esquire, who, by the way, for those of you watching and thought this was a true story biopic, it's not. So to me, I don't know, that loses some of the weight behind the message that it's trying to impart. Stick to your morals. Well, it'd be way more poignant if this was an actual person that lived and actually this happened to them. And him doing that and acting the way he's acting and actually acting is kind of refreshing, because people who have made it in acting, George Clooney, Will Ferrell, people like that, they literally just play themselves as this role or, you know, that role. They don't actually...
They just want to stay in like that sort of safe zone.
What did you think of the way it was shot?
I thought it looked really good. I mean, this is from the same director and screenwriter, I think, of Nightcrawler.
Dan Gilroy.
Yeah, really great movie. Really, really good sense of style and personality, and it felt like it was. I didn't feel like it was there for a good amount of the movie, but when he starts to kind of become his own man and kind of go travel out, it really feels like it opens up. There's a lot of really good. There's a lot of good shots and a lot of bad ones, but they're interestingly bad in the way it just positions of the camera. It just makes you kind of go like,
where the focus is, what's in focus.
Yeah, there's literally like a big speech he has, and where a third of it is like the shot is of his jaw, like where everything else is in focus besides this part of his head. It's like,
right there.
And, I mean, it makes you pay attention, but it kind of is distracting. It's like I don't even remember what he was saying because it was just that's so weird. But great landscapes, good tracking, any of that sort of stuff. I thought it looked really good.
And I thought it made LA look like the worst place to live. So cross that off your list if you're wanting to live in the city of Los Angeles. It's awful looking. So Noah, what do you think you're gonna give this out of 5 whatevers?
God, not this again. I'm gonna give it, let's see, 2.5 carrying suitcase, briefcase things that he has out of 5, or maybe a 3. I don't know, 2.5 out of 5.
I'm gonna follow suit and give it a 3 out of 5 bulldog statues. It was an average movie.
Average film.
It made you feel at times.
Not really.
No.
My soul's an empty void.
Well, that's... Could have been better, could have been worse. I think if Denzel wasn't as good as he was, this would have probably been a 2 or a 1.
Way less interesting than it is. And I think, said it before, but I think just being kind of uninteresting, I think that's a crime in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you said, it's not inherently good or bad in either direction.
Why do you keep, we get it, man. Okay? We get it. You hate the movie. Son of a this guy doesn't stop talking. Well, no, I think that does it here on the set of The Quick Take. Not much more to say. Go see Roman J. Israel Esquire if you're looking for it. Don't go see Roman J. Israel Esquire. Never mind. Forget what I said. Follow us on Facebook, Gmail, Twitter. Make sure you tune in again for The Quick Take and more videos from The Take.
How do you follow someone on Gmail?
I asked that before. Matt and Dan make me say it. I don't know. I don't like it.
Follow someone's email address?
Look, it's not. I don't. It's just, both.